everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Your Millionaire Friend. I'm your host, Shanice Jones, and I am super happy to be here to drop another golden nugget with you. Now, today's episode is going to make you pause, reflect, and hopefully challenge the way you think. Today's episode is called Luck or Hard Work. Who gets the credit? So grab your tea, your notebook, and whatever you need to settle in because this conversation is one that will hit home for a lot of us. Because we grind all day, every day towards our goal, and I know it's not easy. So I want to know, how do you classify your wins? Do you class it as luck or hard work? So let me start with a little story. Not too long ago, I was celebrating a major win. And when I say major, it's one of those kind of wins that you've been up long, late nights, long phone calls, spreadsheets, sacrifice, tears and prayers. That type of win. So I shared my win with someone, and their response was, "Oh, wow, you're just lucky. Lucky." I smiled at that point, but whew, inside I was met with a bit of confusion, frustration, and a bit of disbelief because what they call luck was 365 days of consistent work. It was late payments to myself so my business could stay afloat. It was managing my emotions when deals fell through. It was choosing growth when quitting sometimes looks easier. And to wrap it all up and say luck just kind of rubbed me the wrong way. So this brings me to today's question. When you win, do you consider it luck or was it hard work? All right, let's break it down. Let's define the two first and foremost. So luck is defined as something that happens by chance, something out of your control. It just happens. I walked outside of my house and the wind slapped me. That was just my luck, right? So that's luck, something just happening by chance. You did not cause it to do that, it just happened. Hard work, however, is defined as putting in effort, sacrifice, and consistency to achieve a goal. Let me read that again. Hard work is defined as putting in effort, sacrifice, and consistency to achieve a goal. So here's a reality check. Hard work creates opportunities where luck can show up. But without the work, the lucky break would pass right by you. Think about this. If you don't show up every single day and do the work, would you even be in the position to be lucky? Ask yourself. Now let's get deeper a little bit. When you look at your own life, your career, your finances, your growth, how do you define the things you've accomplished? Were they purely all by chance? Was that degree luck? Or did you build something? I want you to take a moment and really, truly think about it. Now, if you're listening right now, I want you to do a quick exercise. I want you to write down 3 wins that you've had this year. And I know everyone's winning. So there is something that you can write down. Write down 3 wins that you have had this year. Now, next to each win, I want you to write down what happened in order for it to become a win. And then next to that, I want you to write down, was it luck or hard work? And you should be honest. You can be very specific with yourself and you can be honest. All right? Because I want you to realize how powerful your effort truly was when it comes to your win. We live in a time when social media fool people into thinking that success is always instant. You see someone successful and you just feel like it just happened. You see the photos of the house, the cars, the vacation, family looking damn good. And you're like, oh, I want to be like that. They got rich overnight. I didn't know who they were a week ago. I didn't know who they were a month ago. And, all of a sudden they're rich and they're living it up. I want to be like them. However, what you don't see is the credit repairs, the second job, crying at night, the countless no's before they hear that one yes. And though there's no such thing as an overnight success, unless you win the lottery, then yeah, become rich overnight. You might be discovered overnight, but preparation for that discovery takes years. Now, that's the part I find that a lot of people skip over is like, oh, this person was an overnight success. This artist, just came on the block and she's famous or he's famous or whatever it is, or this actor and actress. They were preparing long before you recognize that success. So for you to call it luck is kind of upsetting to some people because you discredit their work. There is a preparation process. In one of my previous episodes, I spoke about the grinding season. You have to put in the work. You got to grind, even if it's behind closed doors in silence, whatever it is, you have to perfect your craft so that when you do become discovered, it's because the preparation work was already done. Now, for me personally, I've worked multiple jobs at once to save for the down payment of my first home. But people won't see that now because they're like, oh, well, you own multiple homes. Yeah, but did you see how I got to the first one? It was not pretty, okay? I've been in rooms where I didn't know if I belonged, but you know what? I stayed. I've walked into meetings with no safety net just by fate and strategy. So when someone calls that luck, nah. But you know what? I'm gonna be fair. Sometimes we do get a break in the form of a phone call, a connection, and a yes you did not expect. Okay? I'm gonna put it out there. We do sometimes get those. But let me ask you, were you ready for that opportunity when it came? Now, if I'm just walking down the street and I see somebody I know and I have a job opening and I say, oh, it requires you have such and such license, but if you do, the job is yours. And they say, yes, I have that license. Okay, great, you got the job. You prepared. You did the work. You got licensed, right? So, same scenario. However, I passed somebody else. I said, hey, I have this job opening. It requires ABCD license. And they're like, no, I don't have it. Then what? You can't have the job because you're not prepared. All right? Are you ready when opportunity comes? You see, luck meets you where preparation already exists. You can meet the right investor, but if you pitch in tight, it ain't happening. If you're pitching something to me, okay, let's leave it at that. You could find the right property, for example, and if your finances aren't in order, then you can't get it because then what? You expect it to just sit and wait for you? No, you have to be ready. Luck without preparation for me is waste or wasted time. You have to be prepared. So when luck does come up or you do have that connection, that phone call, you are ready. You are ready. You are ready to jump. Okay? It's like hard work without vision. It'll feel endless in a way. It'll feel empty. But when the two comes together, when hard work and a bit of luck come together, it is magical. That's when the magic happens. That's when you're walking by fate all along and then you just see the reward at the end of the tunnel. Okay? So let me ask you a question about your wins. All right? If someone calls the success that you have in your life right now luck, how would that make you feel? Knowing what you've been through in order to achieve everything that you have, how would that feel? Most importantly, if they ask you, what's the truth behind that win? How did you achieve it? How did you finish college? How did you start a business? Some people, they say with an attitude because they have something behind it. How would you feel knowing that you have worked very hard for what you have? Now, I know it's a lot to unwrap, and I think we can dive deeper into this in another episode. So let's just wrap it up with some tools because I always want you to stay grounded and I always want you to have a golden nuggets, okay? Something very important, keep a win journal. A win journal, WIN journal. That's where you can document your wins and you can always go back to see all the things that you were able to accomplish. And remember, no win is too small. I've always told you to celebrate the big, the small, whatever it is, just celebrate each win. So get a journal or a planner, whatever it is, but make sure that you write it down, write your wins down. I want you to track it. I want you to track it to your dreams. Now, some of us have very huge dreams that might take a while to be accomplished, but when you break that up into small steps, I want you to track it and see how far you have come from where you started, and you will see progress. Okay? Also, I want you to say it out loud. I walk around my house and say, yes, I got this. I earned this. I worked for this. Say it out loud. Get used to owning your hard work. And next, watch your words. It's very powerful. Don't minimize your success by saying, I just got lucky. Speak truth to your grind. You did it. You worked for it. You prepared for it. It is yours. Okay? Ensure that you watch your words. So, as we wrap up today's episode, I want you to remember you're not here by accident. You didn't stumble into greatness. You are greatness. And your story is not built on luck. It is built on intention, hustle, and grace. All right? And I'm proud of you. When no one sees your hard work, you know what it took. You know in your heart. So let them talk, let them call it luck, but you keep showing up and proving that you've earned each and every piece of it. All right? Now, thank you. Thank you for joining me with another episode of Your Millionaire Friend. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, leave a comment, whatever it is. Feel free to interact because I would love to hear from you. I'd love to hear how you feel on this topic. Do you feel that everything happens by chance and by luck? Or do you feel that what you see from people is their hard work playing out? Let me know. Again, it's your girl, Shanice Jones, and thank you for tuning in to Your Millionaire Friends. I love you. Take care. Bye.